Hello and welcome back to Sports Talk. I am your host, Jack McGilligan, alongside Zach Harnsfager and Michael Tamaro. We are back, a more even keel week this week than it was last week. A bit less to talk about, but more room to breathe after a crazy off-season frenzy for both the MLB and NFL. But we still got some topics to go over. Let's get our show started. We're going to start off with some football talk. ESPN released a post about who would win a Super Bowl first. The choices were Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, and Lamar Jackson. Guys, who do you got on this one? Zach, let's start off with you. Kick things off.
Well, this might surprise some people. As we all know, I'm not a big Bills fan, but I gotta go with Josh Allen on this one. Josh Allen, I mean, that Bills team is, I hate to say it, but that Bills team is talented. I mean, they just signed Von Miller. They got Stephon Diggs, who's still a really, really good wide receiver, and can't forget about Allen, who he's just one heck of a baller. So I'm definitely thinking Josh Allen's definitely going to win the Super Bowl first.
I mean, I think Josh Allen has to be, the key pick here. The Bills, they've made an AFC Championship game before. They've been the challenge to the Chiefs before. The Bengals, obviously, they make the Super Bowl, but I think, people realize it's a little less sustainable than the Bills would be. Personally, outside of Josh Allen, I would go a little off base, I think, from what most people would pick, and I would pick Lamar Jackson. I think that the Ravens, they've got Harbaugh, they've got a good system around them, and, it's been a little tough the past couple of years, but I think Lamar Jackson is just such a talented player. And, Josh Allen is my top pick, but considering I imagine Mike might say Josh Allen as well, I would throw Lamar Jackson in there just as a bit of a dark horse.
Well, Jack, yeah, you're right about that one. I was going to say Josh Allen. In the rare occasion, I agree with Zach. Josh Allen, because I just think that the Bills have the most complete team out of the teams that the other quarterbacks are on, like the Bengals, Chargers, and the Ravens. And I know that the Bengals made the Super Bowl this past season, but I don't think that if the Bengals haven't improved that offensive line, I don't think it's going to sustain in the future. And it will definitely cause a lot of Joe Burrow injuries, so I don't think it's going to be Joe Burrow. So, yeah, like I said, Josh Allen. The Bills, I think, have the most complete team out of those four teams that are mentioned there, basically. And just Josh Allen, I think, is the best QB out of all four. I really like Justin Herbert, but, yeah, Josh Allen definitely.
I don't trust the Chargers. Not to build around them. Not as much.
Well, that's a debate for another time. But, yeah, Josh Allen's my pick for most likely to win the Super Bowl out of those four quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think very reasonable takes, guys. And now, speaking of Super Bowls, we have a former Super Bowl winning head coach, Bruce Arians, announcing his retirement from head coaching. He will now go to the front office of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and defensive coordinator and former New York Jets head coach Todd Bowles. He will get the call. He will get the call up to replace Bruce Arians in that Tampa Bay head coaching position. Zach, how are you feeling about that? How do you think it affects Tampa Bay going into the season?
Well, I don't think it affects them too much. Obviously, I mean, the GOAT's coming back. Tom Brady is coming back. So, I think that's, like I said, I mean, he didn't do that great as a Jets head coach. He did okay, but I didn't think he was that great. And but I definitely think, he's not as good as Bruce Arians, obviously. Congrats to Bruce Arians on a great career, by the way, too. But I definitely think Todd Bowles is going to do just fine as the Bucs head coach.
Yeah, definitely congratulations to Bruce Arians. He's a bit more of an old-school coach, had a good career with the Cardinals, Buccaneers, coordinator jobs. I mean, he's been a solid coach his whole career. I think Todd Bowles didn't get quite the fair shake in New York. The Jets are a very volatile team and front office system, obviously, not the most healthy organization when it comes to environment. And I think going to Tampa Bay, getting this shot with Tom Brady, that'll really be I mean, it's an amazing opportunity for him. And I think, he'll capitalize on it because I think he could be a very solid head coach and maybe bring some things that Bruce Arians, didn't.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think the Buccaneers will be as fine. I know Todd Bowles was a Jets coach, and I don't know if you really want people from the Jets organization, but it's if they still have Tom Brady, who decided to unretire after 2 months, and they brought back Chris Godwin, the Buccaneers, and I'm pretty sure they still have Mike Evans. So I think they'll be fine. It's not like they hired Bill O'Brien or something like that, so they'll be fine, I think.
Could have been a lot worse choices.
Yes, it could have been. You're right about that one, yeah.
Bad Bulls is kind of more like even keel, like I said this week was. He's kind of an easygoing choice. But, guys, let's transition over to some baseball talk. MLB.com released their top 10 rotations and bullpens in the Yankees, ranked 9th in rotation and 4th in bullpen. Mike, I understand it. You want to get going on this topic, so why don't you take it away?
Oh, yeah. So the rotation for the Yankees is this of Garrett Cole, Severino is the top of the rotation, and they're ranked behind teams like the Mets, the Brewers, who have one of the best rotations I've seen, but I know the Mets have some question marks technically, but still. I think the Yankees, I think they're either fine. Maybe I'd rank them a little higher, but like not too high, but I think their positioning on MLB.com is fine. And for the bullpen, that they're behind teams like the Braves and the Brewers. They have guys like Jonathan Loaizaga, Aroldis Chapman, and even Chad Green coming back too. Yeah. So yeah, those are guys that are very reliable on this season. And I might think the Yankees are top 3 bullpen, but I don't know if you guys agree with me or anything. But those guys, but I really think the Yankees do have one of the best bullpens in the league, and I think they'll continue that this season.
I think the bullpen, I mean, they've had one of the best bullpens for like years now. I mean, that's kind of been their trait, since like 2015. They've got the great bullpen, and I mean, I see no reason for their bullpen to slow up at all. 4th, I think is a pretty good place for them because I mean, it's not there are some question marks there. Chad Green, wasn't the greatest last season. He had some struggles. You've got Loaizaga, who's just amazing.
He is
one
amazing.
of my favorite pitchers to
He's
watch.
good.
Yeah, but Chapman, he had some question marks as well last season. So 4th is good for them, and 9th for the Yankees rotation I think is good. There's some question marks now. Severino's health is now in question a bit. You can't exactly rely on Tyone if you're going to the back end of that rotation. But Garrett Cole's Garrett Cole. We'll see how nasty Nestor Cortez, if he could keep up the magic from last season.
And Jack, do not forget Clay Holmes, who the Yankees acquired last year's deadline. He was not that good with the Pirates. He was walking a lot of batters before, when he was at the Pirates, and he comes to the Yankees and becomes an elite relief pitcher. He started walking less and striking out more. He was one of my favorite pitchers out of the bullpen.
Yeah, I really like. Yeah, his story was just basically throw the slider more. The Pirates couldn't figure it out.
We are Matt Blake stands, aren't we?
I do like Matt Blake. Yes.
I can't believe. I agree with you. I mean, I think they're positioned great. I mean, this is shocking. We actually all agree on everything for one time. This is weird.
This is.
I want to write this down. This is
right in the books.
Once in a lifetime occurrence. But I got to tell you what you said. I mean, that bullpen, I think we got one of the best, like you said, one of the best bullpens in baseball. And it's definitely going to be interesting to see if they can keep that ranking and keep that high level of play throughout the season.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's still rumored to get, some Oakland A's pitchers. We'll see how things go there. Brian Cash makes some moves. They're always active at the trade deadline. It'll be a very interesting Yankees season for sure. But that'll do it for us this week on Sports Talk. Alongside Zach Harnisfager and Michael Tamara, I am Jack McElligott, and we will see you next time.
Mike, I got to tell you, man, we finally agreed on something I enjoyed.
Yeah.
How about you guys shake hands?
Don't get your
shake hands.
hopes high about that, because that's a rare occurrence.